by their nature are political animals. So this ancient saying of Aristotle has never lost its appeal. Perhaps the reason is that despite the long course it traversed in the history, it still capsulizes one of the essential elements of human nature, and that is humans endowed innateness to gather themselves and create a community where they share their commonalities and fix differences. In the course of our history as human beings, we exist not just to become passive creatures, but also as active beings capable of transforming our environment and sharing and transmitting cultural elements from one generation to the next, thus creating societies. As one evidence to this, you may have heard about the development of the ancient civilization such as the one you're seeing here in the background. The ancient Greek and Roman architectural structures depicting one truth about us human beings, our greatness. Good day everyone, I am Sir Ariel Sobrevilla, your philosophy teacher. In this module, you will understand how individuals form societies and in turn, how societies transform them. More importantly, you will be able to explain how human relations are formed by social systems. So let's begin by answering these 7 questions related to our topic in this video lesson. So I will be posting each of the questions on the screen and you will be given 5 seconds to answer each of them. Okay? Are you ready? Let's begin.
Number 1. It refers to an organized group of people whose members interact frequently and have a common territory and culture. The answer is society. Number 2. This type of society is characterized by the domestication of animals for food for a more stable and predictable food supply. And the answer is pastoral society. Number 3. This is recognized as the earliest and simplest form of society. And the answer is hunting and gathering society. Number 4. This type of society is based on the ownership of land. The answer is feudal society. Number 5. This type of society is also characterized by cultural diversity and the presence of bureaucratic forms of organization. And it is based on the use of specialized machinery in the production of goods and services. And the answer is industrial society. Number 6. This form of society involves large-scale and long-term cultivation of crops and domestication of animals. And the answer is agrarian or agricultural society. And number 7, it is marked by the establishment of societies based on knowledge, information, and the sale of services. And the answer is post-industrial society or digital society.
Okay, so I hope you were able to get all the answers to the questions correctly, but if not, it's just fine. As we always do during the earlier video lessons I presented to you last quarter, we will be guided by the MELCs of this course, specifically those which pertain to this module. First, recognize how individuals form societies and how individuals are transformed by societies. Second, compare different forms of societies and individualities. And third, explain how human relations are transformed by social systems. At this point in time, let us try to reflect and answer this question. What is society? So, ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng lipunan? And a follow-up question, what drives human beings to establish societies? So, ano yung nag-uudyok sa tao para magtatag ng mga lipunan? Have you ever pondered how your world has defined you? Have you ever thought about your places in this world and among the people you interact with every day? Have you ever reflected on how your presence has affected the world and the people around you? So these questions will momentarily put us into a situation where we can really say that the human person exists to relate with others. As the great philosopher Aristotle puts it, the person is by nature a social being because he or she has a tendency to go out of himself or herself to form bonds and relationships with others. Throughout a person's life, he or she experiences a variety of relationships that help shape him or her as a person. So, sa buong buhay ng isang tao, so nararanasan niya yung iba't ibang uri ng tinatawag nating relasyon na tumutulong sa kanya bilang isang tao. So, yung mga sanggol, yung unang kanilang naging kaugnayan sa kanilang pamilya at ang tagapangalaga nila bilang pinagmulan ng mga tinatawag nating pangunahing pangangailangan nila. No? So, habang lumalaki sila, so pinapalawak nila ang kanilang mundo at nagsisimulang makipag-ugnayan sa mga tao. So, hindi bahagi ng kanilang pamilya. So, they establish what we call friendships beginning in their childhood and into their teenage and adult years. So, natututunan din nila kung paano harapin ang iba pang mga taong may otoridad bukod sa kanilang mga magulang o tagapangalaga. Habang lumalaki tayo at papunta sa hustong gulang. Nagbabago rin ang ating pakikipagrelasyon at mga responsibilidad dahil nagkakaroon tayo ng mas mahalagang papel sa ating komunidad na ginagalawan. Well, our freedom gives us the opportunity to pursue various activities to achieve our goals and attain well-being or happiness. As we live our lives and expand our experience, we also encounter other people who are acting in similar ways. However, the pursuit of our goals are made easier by the fact that we do not need to do our activities alone, that we can live our life and pursue our happiness with other people by our side. We need others in order to achieve our personal goals in life. So the tendency to form groups is not exclusive to human beings. Other animals also form groups for mutual protection and survival. Halimbawa, yung mga langgam, mapapansin natin, di ba? Kung gaano sila nagkakaisa sa paghakot ng kanilang mga pagkain. But they only do it as part of their instinct to survive. While we humans are more than these animals. We humans are the only beings capable of establishing what we call society, which is an organized group of people whose members interact frequently and have a common territory and culture. Society also refers to a companionship of friendly association with others on an alliance, a community, or a union. So, the development of societies throughout history shows the development of humankind in response to changing surroundings and historical developments. So in short, we have different forms of societies, and the various forms of societies that emerge includes the following. The first one is hunting and gathering society. This is recognized as the earliest and simplest form of society. It is generally characterized by its small size and is composed mainly of families. They are nomadic because they spend most of their time searching for food and thus have no permanent territory. The hierarchy in this type of society is not very varied. Its members are generally treated equally, and decisions are usually arrived at through a consensus. Because of this, the roles of the members and the divisions of labor is not very clearly defined. Okay, so the second one is pastoral society. So this type of society is characterized by the domestication of animals, kagaya nung nandito sa aking paligid, for food or for a more stable and predictable food supply. So pastoral communities have larger populations than hunting and gathering societies and remain longer in one place. And in addition, pastoral societies often produce surplus of food and resources, which they trade with other societies. So this relative prosperity enables the people to engage in other activities apart from those necessary for survival, such as handicrafts. So this eventually leads to the emergence of specialized tasks in the community. The third one is horticultural society. A horticultural society primarily engages in small-scale cultivation of plants, fruits and vegetables, kagaya nitong nandito sa paligid ko, itong sitaw, the domestication of animals. Horticultural societies are semi-nomadic, which means that they travel from one place to another, and when they have already depleted the resources in one area. So in this society, roles and responsibilities are more clearly defined, with many tasks assigned according to gender. Similar to the pastoral society, there is also a surplus of goods, which sometimes leads to inequalities among its members. The fourth one is agrarian or agricultural society. So this type of society is a further evolution of pastoral and horticultural societies. Agriculture involves the large-scale and long-term cultivation of crops and domestication of animals. So this society is characterized by improved technology and the use of tools to aid in farming. Improved technology and farming methods results in increased production, giving rise to growing population in agricultural societies. The large population of agricultural society leads to a more structured social system that helps manage resources and its members. The increasingly complex social organization and growing importance of territory often result in conflicts among neighboring societies over resources and land. The fifth one is feudal society. A feudal society is based on the ownership of land, vast lands like this. So feudal societies arose out of developments in Western Europe during the medieval times, when rival kingdoms were engaged in conflicts over resources, particularly land. So in a feudal society, rulers grant their followers or vassals the right to manage parcels of land. These vassals in turn are served by peasants, workers, who cultivate the land and tend to the animals in the farms. In return for their services, they are provided military protection. Members of the society are organized based on status. Those who own land are considered the most powerful and influential members of society, while the peasants are considered the lowest group. Social relations are characterized by dependence. The lord depends on his vassals to provide him with resources. The vassals depend on the peasants for their service, while the peasants depend on their vassals for protection. The sixth one is an industrial society. So an industrial society is based on the use of specialized machinery in the production of goods and services. The advances in science and technology in the late 18th century resulted in the Industrial Revolution, which in turn gave rise to new production and industrial methods, as well as innovations in transportation and communication. So these technological advances resulted in improved trade and commerce and better life conditions for many people. So work is done in factories and public education is more prevalent. However, the emergence of industrial society is characterized by greater inequalities in wealth, power, and influence. So industrial societies are often defined by the nature of work and prevailing industry in an area. So the capitalists or business owners are considered the most influential. So this type of society is also characterized by cultural diversity and the presence of bureaucratic forms of organization. And the seventh one is known as the post-industrial society, or also known as the digital society. So the post-industrial society is marked by the establishment of societies based on knowledge, information, and the sale of services led by the human mind and aided by highly advanced technology. The trend has shifted from industry to the generation, storage, manipulation, and sale of information. So information influences the behavior of people and has thus become a very important commodity in the post-industrial society. Members of this society have higher educational attainment, better training, and specialized roles. So the virtual reality where people organize themselves through communication technology and the internet is a product of a post-industrial society. Individuals in a virtual society often engage in complex relationships. They often have fluid identities and do not necessarily subscribe to certain norms or established standards of behavior. So the freedom allowed in a virtual world means that a person is able to engage in various activities as well as access various kinds of information. After knowing all these forms of society, we may ask, how relevant is society to us? How does society influence our development? And how does society enable each of us to become better persons? So as we have already discussed a while back, one thing is common. There is no society without us human beings. Primarily because we created this so-called society in order for us not just to survive, but also to share whatever we have to others, thus building a sense of community, and to help each of us achieve a personal and group goals. Hence, there is this sense of mutuality between the individuals and the society. Take for example our being Filipinos. What makes us Filipino? So, sa paanong paraan ba tayo naging Pilipino? What made us different from other nations? So, hindi natin piniling tayo ipanganak sa Pilipinas, di ba? Pero habang lumalaki tayo, nagsisimula tayong i-adapt yung mga kaugalian, tradisyon at mga katangian na makapagpapakilala sa kultura natin bilang mga Pilipino. Natutunan natin ang sarili nating wika, di ba? Sa pamamagitan ng pakikihalubilo natin doon sa miyembro ng ating pamilya at sa iba pang miyembro ng ating lipunang ginagalawan. It is also through our interactions with other individuals and institutions that we learn how to behave appropriately, what beliefs and traditions to practice, and what ideas and perspectives to consider acceptable. So lahat ng ito ang magbibigay kahulugan sa ating pagkakakilanlan, yung tinatawag nating identity, hindi lamang bilang isang tao, kundi bilang isang miyembro ng ating lipunan. This is how our multicultural Filipino society influences us as Filipinos. Not only that society influences our development as persons, it also enables us to become better persons for the following reasons. Number 1, society recognizes the capability of the person to develop and provides its members with opportunities to better themselves. Halimbawa nito, yung sa larangan ng edukasyon. Hindi ba sa pamamagitan ng edukasyon ay binibigyan tayo ng pagkakataon na i-develop yung ating mga kakayahan at talino upang magamit natin ito sa sarili nating pag-unlad at sa pag-unlad na rin syempre ng bawat isa sa atin. Yung pag-unlad ng bawat isa ay nangangahulugan na din ng pag-unlad ng ating lipunan. Pangalawa, persons can also undertake to contribute to the society through their decisions and actions. Ibig sabihin, ang pagbabago sa ating lipunan ay nakasalalay din naman sa naisin nating mabago dahil tayo mga tao ang siyang nagdidesisyon at kumikilo sa kung ano ang magiging direksyon ng ating lipunan. So the fate of our society depends on our decisions and actions. Well guys, so that's it. That comprises our lesson for this week. As your post-assessment and a performance task as well, kindly do the following. So you are going to create a photo journal showing the individual groups and institutions that have significantly influenced you throughout your life. Then, describe the positive influences they had on your development as a person. I will be posting our grading rubric for this photo journal in our Facebook social learning group as well as also in our group chat. Okay? So, please be guided by the photo journal grading rubric na nakikita nyo ngayon sa ating screen. Okay guys, so I do hope that this series of video lessons brought a big impact to you as a learner, that despite the challenges of the modular distance learning, you are still able to learn something from our course. So until then, thank you and see you again on our next video lesson.